let's stand. We have a song called One Big Family by Gary Lynn Floyd, one of my new friends. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one, we are love, one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one, we are love, one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Nothing easier than a couple hey yeahs, huh?
Good morning, everybody. That song reminded me of something. Everybody has something to give to everybody else, and it costs you absolutely nothing. I'm always reminded of that when I come to this place, because there's so many people here that I love and love seeing every day. I'm not talking about the hugs, though. So if you know what I'm talking about, turn to the person next to you and show me what I'm talking about. Gary knows what it is. What are we talking about? Smiles. You know, it's interesting, when we talk about abundance, you talk about something you have an abundance of. You know, I can go hiking up in the canyon, run across a stranger, you give them a smile, and next thing you know, you're in a conversation with them. Or go to the grocery store, you see somebody who's looking grumpy, give them a smile, and half the time they smile back at you. We won't talk about the other half. You're filling up with gas, you strike up a conversation behind you who's filling up with gas just because you gave them a smile. Yes, Loma?
Yeah, and even if the mask is on, if you're wearing a mask, people can tell you're smiling. A lady said to me the other day, I can tell you're smiling, I can see with your eyes.
Yes. Loma said, for those of you who are hearing at home, if you have a mask on and you smile, it still shows in your eyes the twinkle that you have. So I would suggest practice smiling at everybody you meet. You have a total amount of that, as much as you want to do. So use it very abundantly if you would. So, for those of you who don't know me, although everybody here I think does, my name is Donald Green, and on behalf of Reverend Donna Maurer and the Board of Trustees, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual path, here you'll be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you were meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action, every day and every way. And we express this by living the principles, the Declaration of Principles. And if you look on the back of your bulletin, you'll have this if you'd follow along with me. I believe there's an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. And I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is. If this is your first time here, we especially welcome you. Do we have anyone here for the first time? Okay. We'd also like to make sure we mention we have some wonderful people who are back for the first Sunday since this summer, and that'd be Melinda and her husband Peter. Let's give them a big hand. Welcome back. Good to have you back in our midst. So, okay, we'd like to thank those who helped with the setup today. I think that would be Susan did the coffee and the refreshments. We had Craig doing the greeting, and I'm sure there's other people involved. We have Heather on the music. We have Melinda as our practitioner, Donna as obviously our main speaker, our minister, and all of you all here together enjoying our time. So, if you have a cell phone or other devices that make noise during service, if you'd silence them at this time, and thank you. Namaste.
In me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you. And you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you. And you and I are one. Namaste, namaste.
Good morning. Good to see everybody. I want to start off lighting the candle, which represents the energy of the light within each and every one of us. And after sharing, I will carry this light to the prayer request table, healing, holding the high watch and awaiting your request to fill out the card and drop it in the box so our practitioners can pray for your highest and best outcome for you and or friends, family. Don't forget to ask for prayer for yourself. And I was thinking about it this morning, and I thought, you probably don't know, but practitioners even ask for prayer. So, it's a thing. And for our invocation, as I take a conscious breath, I turn towards the one mind, one power, one spirit. I invite my being to an eternal state of complete unity with the whole. I am open to listen and receive the message and the music today, appreciating the love and the energy of everyone here, creating our spiritual family. One mind, one power, one spirit. Namaste. In the relationship of healing, the most important step a client can take in resolving a problem is to request the assistance of a practitioner. The moment she takes that step, the path to healing begins. That's why our numbers are on the back of your program, so you can give us a call. Today, I'm sharing from a beautiful book I have called Silence by Christina Feldman. As human beings, we need, perhaps more than anything else, to know how to touch one another. We are undeniably related and interconnected. We depend upon each other in countless ways we do not always even see. To be intimate with another person, to live together in a peaceful and compassionate way, we first need to understand how to heal and care for ourselves. It is our relationship with oneself that is the foundation of every relationship in our life. Here we learn the lessons of kindness rather than harshness. Within our relationship with ourselves, we learn how to be a cause of healing and not a cause of harm. Within the world of our own heart, body, and mind, we learn a generosity of spirit, trust, and sensitivity that we can bring to every relationship in our life. Alienated from ourselves, we will always be prone to loneliness in our lives. Learning the richness and ease of aloneness, we discover what it means to be whole, all one. Genuine connectedness is not born of the glancing encounters with the multitude of people in our world, but through our capacity to enter into each moment and each relationship with trust, oneness, and generosity. Silence appears as dangerous territory only so long as it remains a stranger to us. It appears threatening only from a distance. We fear it only as long as we fear knowing ourselves. Taking our tentative steps into silence, we learn that we can befriend it and therefore befriend ourselves. It teaches us to listen to our inner intuition, to see ourselves with new eyes, and to enter our life with a profound receptivity. As we learn to embrace silence, we come to understand that we have always been embraced by silence. It is the gateway we enter to find true depth, intimacy, and wisdom. Namaste. Oh, I forgot to light the candle. Okay, thank you.
To open, hurts you less to bloom. So take a leap of faith and emerge from the womb. Or you've been asleep for longer than you care to admit. When there's so much light, close the dark apart. Awaken to peace. Wake into peace. to peace. Thank you. Namaste. Please treat for peace.
Well, it's obvious you're better. Okay, good morning. And again, I want to move this thing because it's right in my nose. And I want you to be able to see me, and I want to be able to see you. Is that better? Well, good morning, and we are continuing our theme of our beloved community. And our topic this morning is the gift of belonging. We talk about belonging a lot, but to me it's an important subject, and it reminds me that I am more than what Ernest Holmes said, between my hat and my bootstraps, is the term Ernest Holmes used to use. A few weeks ago, I talked about Brene Brown's frustration with a statement by Maya Angelou, where she said, "You are only free when you realize that you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, the reward is great." And Brene wondered if we could really belong everywhere and nowhere, and what the heck did that mean? And so she really did a lot of research around that. And she came up with the idea that belonging is not something that we negotiate from the external world. It's something we carry with our heart. And I think we know this, we who are here in this study, in this philosophy, in this spiritual community, really understand that. Ernest Holmes put it so beautifully. He said, "You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, the original flow of life. You are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, and the air. There is something in you telling you this, like a voice echoing from some mountaintop of inward vision, like a light whose origin none has seen, like an impulse welling up from an invisible source." And that's who we are. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? So it is important that the external, while we care about it, doesn't have the importance of knowing who and what we are, this belonging to this source, to God, to the universe. And John O'Donohue, in Eternal Echoes, Celtic Reflections on Our Yearning to Belong, he says it this way. He says, "There is a lovely balance at the heart of our nature. Each of us is utterly unique, and yet we live in the most intimate kinship with everyone and everything else. Belonging is not merely shelter from being separate and different. Its more profound intention is the awakening of the great belonging which embraces everything. Our hunger to belong is a desire to awaken this hidden affinity. Then we know we are not outsiders cut off from everything, but rather participants at the heart of creation." So you and I are here because I think we're all wanting to feel this belonging. And that's what brings us all together. I think this is what brings us all together. And no matter where we are on our spiritual path, this something bigger is as much a part of us as we are of it. And when we get that, when we really understand, we really become one with this power and presence, sometimes it's just a fleeting moment. But we've found something very sacred and very real that we can hold on to through any challenge. And I think there's three ways, to me there's three ways that we can touch that sacred part of us that is our divinity. And the first is in our spiritual practices. Often through meditation, spiritual contemplation, prayer, we are taken to a place that is outside of a realm we know. It's just... we may have what we call a cosmic consciousness experience. Dr. Holmes had such an experience during the dedication of the church in Whittier, California. And people who were close to him noticed a change in his expression, and even people who were far away could hear a change in his voice. I didn't write any of the words down that he actually said, but I remember that they're just beautiful. And he didn't talk about his experience because he didn't want people to try to duplicate it. Because the moment you try to duplicate a cosmic conscious experience, you're lost. You can't do that. He knew if people just continued to follow our teaching seriously, then they too would have their own cosmic conscious experience. Might not be as powerful as what he had, but I think we've all had those moments when we've been touched by something in our prayer, in our meditation. We hear that small voice. I have some, actually. Excuse me. I did this last week, too. I don't know what's going on. Buckminster Fuller shared about a time in his life when he was very, very, very depressed after the death of his young daughter. As he walked by Lake Michigan, his thoughts of suicide were interrupted by a voice in his head that said he did not have the right to take his own life because, that's what the voice said, you do not belong to you. You belong to the universe. So when we meditate, when we pray, when we journal, any of those practice that takes us deeper inside ourselves, we touch that part of us that belongs to the universe. And those experiences, some of those experiences do stay with us forever. I've had one or two that just, that I can always go back to when I'm feeling doubtful. So, and the second is through nature and the arts, and I think most of us feel that with especially with nature. I am a nature girl, and I love the sky this morning was beautiful, and I love the night sky. I love all the things that have to do with nature. In her essay Perfect Days, Mary Oliver describes an experience of what I see as connecting with that something greater through nature. She says, once, years ago, I emerged from the woods in the early morning at the end of a walk, and it was the most casual of moments as I stepped from under the trees into the mild, pouring down sunlight. I experienced a sudden impact, a seizure of happiness. It was not the drowning sort of happiness, rather the floating sort. I made no struggle toward it. It was given. Time seemed to vanish. Urgency vanished. Any important difference between myself and all other things vanished. I knew that I belonged to the world and felt comfortable in my own containment in the totality of it. I did not feel that I understood any mystery, not at all. Rather, that I could be happy and feel blessed within the perplexity. The summer morning, its gentleness, the sense of the great work being done through the grass where I stood, which scarcely trembled. As I say, it was the most casual of moments, not mystical as the word is usually meant, for there was no vision or anything extraordinary at all, but only a sudden awareness of the citizenry of all things within one world: leaves, dust, thrushes and finches, men and women. And yet it was a moment I've never forgotten, and upon which I have based many decisions in the years since. I've had that. Have you? Yeah. How many's had an experience like that? Yeah, everybody, right? Pretty much everybody. You all know that growing up, I spent summers with my grandparents in the Ozarks. And my grandparents lived off the land, and they had a deep respect for nature. And I inherited that, especially from my grandfather. I remember that there was a family of raccoons that lived at the edge of the woods, and they could tell time. They would show up on my grandpa's doorstep the minute dinner was over, because our leftovers were their meal. And even though they would grow up and go their separate ways, there was always one or two who hung around to be the next generation of my grandfather's dinner guests. So I've always had that respect, and I feel like I'm one with all of this stuff. I remember walking along Balboa Park when I lived in California, in Los Angeles. And Balboa Park is filled with squirrels, so I always take a bag of peanuts, you know. And one day I was feeding a peanut, and this woman who was coming towards me had this horrified look on her face, and she said, "Oh, don't do that. They have rabies." And so she was so frightened and so scared of something that I thought was so beautiful. Isn't it interesting how we can see the world and have it be so very, very different? Native Americans have the same kind of deep respect. Their sense of belonging is very much tied to nature. I found this. It's Dan George, chief of the people of the Inlet in British Columbia. He says, "The beauty of the trees, the softness of the air, the fragrance of the grass speaks to me. The summit of the mountain, the thunder of the sky, the rhythm of the sea speaks to me. The faintness of the stars, the freshness of the morning dew, the drop on the flower speaks to me. The strength of fire, the taste of salmon, the trail of the sun, and the life that never goes away. They speak to me, and my heart soars." So nature does, I think, speak to most all of us. And we have our choice to close our hearts in fear or to open up and let our hearts soar. And the third way we feel that belonging is through interactions with other people. You know, several researchers have referred to inner and outer belonging. The inner belonging is that touch with the divine, and the outer is the touch with people. But I think there's only one true belonging, you know, and it is to our source. It is to this still small voice. And I think that spiritual practices, nature, arts, and interactions with other people are simply ways that this source expresses through our life. Brene Brown defines belonging as the innate human desire to be part of something larger than us. She says, because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and by seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often barriers to it. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. That's what Melinda spoke of this morning. And she goes on, this definition has withstood the test of time as well as the emergence of new data, but it is incomplete. There's much more to true belonging. Being ourselves means sometimes having to find the courage to stand alone, totally alone. It's not something we achieve or accomplish with others. It's something we carry in our heart. And once we belong thoroughly to ourselves and believe thoroughly in ourselves, true belonging is ours. I think many of us have spent years feeling less than, not good enough, unworthy. And yet when we come to an understanding of ourselves as part of that greater whole, then we begin to sense that our worthiness is inherent. You know, there's nothing that we need to do or to be in order to have worth. Being an expression of God is enough. And when we know that, when we truly know that, then we can walk in this world with confidence. Ernest Holmes called this spiritual self-reliance. He says, people with spiritual self-reliance have a deep conviction that they are attuned to an infinite intelligence and that they are one with the all-knowing spirit. A knowledge of this truth is necessary if we desire to develop an understanding that will cause us to be positive without aggressiveness, that will make us sure of ourselves without egotism, that will make us strong in action without becoming intolerant. First of all, there must be an awareness of the presence of God. Next, and equally necessary, is faith in the spiritual self. And the faith to which we're referring is not a faith in an isolated self which struggles through life, but faith in that inner knowledge. Spiritual self-reliance comes to those who have a deep awareness of the availability of the creative spirit through the medium of their spiritual self and their oneness with the presence of God. When you and I come to that place of spiritual self-reliance, we can throw away our self-help books, 10 steps to better self-esteem, because our self-esteem doesn't come from steps we follow. It's authentic because it comes from our conviction that we are part of something greater, and so is everybody else. And I love I love Brene Brown's statement, true belonging is not something we negotiate externally, it's what we carry in our heart. So if we understand the sacredness of our connection to spirit, and that we're all expressions of the one, when we reach this place, even momentarily, then we belong everywhere and we belong nowhere. And as Maya Angelou tells us, the price is high and the reward is great. Because it's high because belonging to ourselves means being called to stand alone. Brene Brown calls it the wilderness of uncertainty, vulnerability, and criticism. And with the world feeling like a political and ideological combat zone, this is remarkably tough. We seem to have forgotten that even when we're utterly alone, we're connected to one another by something greater than group membership, politics, and ideology. We're connected by love and the human spirit, no matter how separated we are by what we think and believe. We are part of the same spiritual story. I needed to hear that this week. And I believe that we have a true sense of belonging here at the center. I feel that we're all reaching that place where we belong everywhere and nowhere. I think that's our spiritual path. And there's some of us further along than others, and we are blessed by the support we're given by those that are a bit further along. Our theme this month is our beloved community, and I feel that we have created a beloved community. I love what Dawn said this morning about smiles, so easy to give. And I was standing up here watching people come in, and I was just got little goosebumps, to watch the people come in, and everybody gets a smile, gets a hug, gets a handshake. It's like, this is something very special that we've created here. And everybody needs to know that you have made it specially, each one of you. So we support our each other. We share our joys and our sorrows, our accomplishments and our failures. And that's all done without criticism or judgment. We've created a place where it's safe to feel vulnerable. And I hope we don't forget that. I believe that we need each other. We are each God in expression, and together we become a greater expression of God's love than we can be alone. Reverend Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones defines a spiritual community as a consciousness held by a collective group that welcomes, celebrates, and honors you just the way you are. You'll know it because it's as if you have walked into a wall of love, immersing you in the most amazing ways. I feel that here. I feel it here. I think he could be talking about us. And no matter who we are or where we are in our spiritual path, may we always feel welcome here. And I found a little blessing from John O'Donohue, and I thought I'd close with that this morning. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize that you are never alone, that your soul in its brightness and belonging connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of your soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life there is something beautiful and eternal happening. May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which God sees you in every moment. Thank you. Namaste.
All right. Let's stand and sing. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors on this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors on this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors on this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Thank you. It's a good song. I like that song. Okay, it's time for our offering. Yeah, in the description of our talk, there's a place to donate, and so we would love it if you would be a part of our one big family. And won't you join us in our offering affirmation? My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful.
all so much. I really appreciate your generosity that allows us to keep our doors open and also to be a beneficial presence in the community. I appreciate it. So let's take a moment to close this portion out in prayer and take advantage of our refreshments and our coffee, a chance to talk a little bit. I know that God is all there is. This power and presence that is defined by love and peace and harmony and joy, beauty, abundance, is what we are made of and from. We are sourced by it. So as we claim those attributes as our own, we can go forth into our world knowing that we are all connected, that we are all one, expressing uniquely as each one of us. I know this power and presence has the ability to heal and make whole, and I call upon it to do just that for anyone experiencing any kind of a challenge. I give thanks for the opportunity to be here today, to be in our beloved community, and to know that as we grow together, we create a better world. And so it is. Okay, so we'll circle up.
So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. A stand for love, let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making